So what is the 80-20 principle?
Money, mindset. I think that sounds alright.
So what is the 80-20 principle? A lot of people have heard about the 80-20 principle, but I'm going to explain exactly what it is. So basically it's path of least resistance. So the first time I heard about the 80-20 principle was during, I read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. It's a great book, highly recommend it. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And then I went on, I bought a book called The 80-20 Principle by Richard Koch, and that's really a great book as well. And it goes even more in detail, and this is where I've taken these diagrams for. So let's get right into it. So 80-20 principle. So essentially it means that 20% of the input of anything will create 80% of the output. So say you put 20% of the tasks that you do every day will create 80% of the outputs. So that means that 80% of the tasks that you're doing are only creating 20% of your outcome. So what you need to focus on are what are the 20% of the inputs that are creating the most outputs, essentially. So you have to look. So it relates not just to investing, but this is what we're using it for, but it also relates to productivity, and it also relates to, it's everywhere in nature as well, which we'll just talk about in a second. So also 20% of your efforts will create 80% of your results. So who first came out with the 80-20 principle? There was a guy, Italian economist called Vilfredo Pareto, and he's known for first introducing or first studying this. This was in the 18th century, and he was doing some research about the Italian economy, and he found that 20% so 80% of the resources of Italy, the whole country, were held by 20% of the people. And he was like, oh wow, that's really interesting. But what's mind-blowing is he went into his garden and he measured pea pods, and he found that 20% of the pea pods in his garden created 80% of the peas. And this gave the reason it blew my mind is this happens everywhere in nature. So we humans think we're being really clever, being able to kind of create systems ourselves, but it just is what we're reflecting in nature. And that's, for me, that's why the 80-20 principle is so powerful, because it's what happens in nature, and we humans are part of that ecosystem. So it's really powerful, especially when you start applying it to your investment principles, which I'll explain more in detail in other lectures. But this part of the talk is just to explain the 80-20 principle and to kind of get your head around some of these figures that you can effectively spend your time laser focus on 20% of your effort, and you're going to get 80% of your results. And you could even go a step further and then work out what's the 80-20 principle of that. So what 20% of this slither here is creating 80% of those results, and you can go down a step further and you essentially keep doing this, working out where am I getting the most results. So you can use this in your investment and also productivity. So with the investment hat in mind, I've created essentially a Pareto Principle investing strategy, so where you have 20% of your efforts or your input is looking to create 80% of those gains. So first of all, 10%, so 10% into so this is your auto-enrollment pension. So 10% of your money goes into a pension, which is topped up by your company and the government. So that's 10%. The other 10% is grow. So this is where you can put money into, say, an ISA, individual savings account, into an investment vehicle, and 10% of that will grow. So the two 10% together is going to create 80% of your results. So you've got 10% sow, 10% grow, then 80% dough. So life is for living. So you can actually go and save 20% of everything you've earned, and 80% of that you can go and spend on whatever you want. You can go and, if you want to go and spend it on, I don't know, nights out, TVs, brash cars, lattes, avocados on toast. Like, you can spend whatever you want budgeting, as long as you're putting automatically 10% away, so 10% grow, 80% of that is your dough. You can spend on what you like. And that's really powerful, that you don't have to worry about what you're spending because it's automatic set up for you. And we'll talk more about that in more lectures.
Money mindset. I think that sounds alright.